The video plays again on my screen, the fifth time in 10 minutes. A teenage girl screams as sparks fly from her vision lens smart glasses, leaving angry red marks across her temple. The comment section explodes with outrage, shares climbing by the thousands. Each replay feels like a knife twisting deeper into my gut. I'm Brianna, and that smoking piece of tech bearing our company logo just shattered 15 years of my father's reputation in under 60 seconds. Have you seen this? I text Emily, knowing my sister probably hasn't. She's probably lost in her studio, splashing paint everywhere except the canvas. My office door clicks open. Liam strolls in without knocking, his designer suit perfectly pressed, that practiced smile plastered across his face. Beautiful morning, isn't it, Brie? Did you approve the final safety tests on the VL3 series? I keep my voice steady, professional. My brother-in-law's smile doesn't waver. Of course, everything passed with flying colors. He perches on the edge of my desk, uninvited. Why do you ask? I turn my monitor toward him. The video starts again, screaming, sparks, panic. Liam's smile flickers for just a fraction of a second before returning, broader than ever. Oh, that. He waves dismissively. Staged content. Probably a competitor trying to tank our stock before the quarter ends. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about? The words taste bitter. There are 3 similar incidents reported in the last week alone. I checked the customer service logs. Since when do you have access to those? His tone sharpens slightly. Since I'm the financial analyst responsible for risk assessment. I meet his gaze. The question is, why didn't you flag these incidents in your product oversight report? Liam stands, straightening his jacket. Look, Brianna, I know you're eager to prove yourself to Michael, but maybe stick to your spreadsheets. Product development is my domain. My phone buzzes. A text from Dad. Family dinner tonight, no excuses. I'll see you at dinner, Liam says, reading over my shoulder. We can discuss your concerns, then. His smile doesn't reach his eyes anymore. After he leaves, I pull up the internal communication logs I'd accessed earlier. Something isn't adding up. The safety test results Liam referenced show perfect scores. Too perfect. Every single metric exactly meets the minimum requirement, not a point higher or lower. My hands hover over the keyboard. I could email Dad directly, show him the discrepancies, but I already know how that conversation would go. Liam knows what he's doing, he'd say. Why can't you trust your brother-in-law like I do? The video keeps playing on social media. More comments pour in, more angry customers, more damage to everything we've built. My phone rings. It's Alex. Hey, still on for dance class tonight? His voice carries its usual warmth. Can't. Family dinner. Ah, the monthly inquisition. He pauses. You okay? You sound tense. I watch another comment pop up. My daughter could have been blinded. Lawsuit incoming. I'm fine, I lie. Just work stuff. Want to talk about it? I close my eyes, considering. Alex would listen. He always does. But this isn't just about faulty products or corporate negligence. This is about family, about trust, about the way Liam swept in 5 years ago and somehow became the son my father never had. I should go. Reports to finish before dinner. Okay, but Bree, remember to breathe. I hang up and open a new document. Start typing. Internal Investigation Report, VL3 Series Safety Protocols. If Liam thinks I'll stick to my spreadsheets and stay quiet, he doesn't know me at all. I'm my father's daughter, even if he's forgotten that. And I'm going to prove exactly what his precious son-in-law has been hiding, no matter the cost. The video plays one more time. I let it run, memorizing every detail. This isn't just about protecting the company anymore. This is about justice and family and showing everyone exactly who Liam really is. Game on, brother-in-law. The family dining room feels smaller every month. Mother's antique crystal chandelier casts shadows across faces I used to trust, while steam rises from plates of perfectly arranged food nobody's touching. The quarterly projections look promising, Dad announces, cutting into his steak. Liam's new product line could push us past our competitors by year's end. I grip my fork tighter. About the new line, Dad. Did you see my latest installation? Emily interrupts, twirling pasta around her fork. The gallery's calling it provocatively disturbing, whatever that means. That's wonderful, dear, Mother says, her smile strained. Michael, perhaps we could discuss something besides work. Dad continues as if she hadn't spoken. The VL3 series is revolutionary. Liam's team has outdone themselves. Actually, I set down my fork. There have been some concerning reports. Reports? Liam's laugh cuts through the air. You mean that staged video? Brianna's gotten herself worked up over nothing, Michael. Just a competitor's smear campaign. It's not nothing. The words come out sharper than intended. There are multiple incident reports, and the safety test results show everything's within acceptable parameters. Liam finishes, reaching for his wine. Really, Brie, this obsession with finding problems where none exist, it's not healthy. Emily's eyes dart between us like she's watching a tennis match. Mother studies her plate. Michael, Liam continues, remember that acquisition deal we discussed? The timing might be perfect, considering our current market position. Dad leans forward, eyes bright. Yes, excellent point. The board meeting tomorrow. What acquisition? I ask. That wasn't in any of the financial reports. Because it's still in early stages, Dad says. Liam's been handling the preliminary negotiations. Without consulting the financial department, my voice rises. That's not protocol. Sometimes leadership requires thinking outside established protocols, Liam says smoothly. Wouldn't you agree, Michael? Dad nods, and something inside me snaps. Leadership also requires accountability. I push back from the table. Those incident reports aren't fake, Dad. People are getting hurt, real people, using our products. And instead of addressing it, we're discussing acquisitions? Brianna, Mother's voice carries a warning. The company has procedures for handling customer complaints, Dad says firmly. Procedures that don't include making accusations at family dinner. When else can I bring it up? You've canceled our last 3 meetings. Because I'm busy ensuring this company's future. Dad's fork clatters against his plate, a future you seem determined to undermine with these theories. They're not theories. I pull out my phone. Look at these test results. The numbers are clearly... Enough! Dad's fist hits the table. Crystal glasses rattle. I won't have you attacking Liam's integrity based on some spreadsheet anomalies you think you've found. Emily stands abruptly. I should go. The babysitter... Stay, Mother pleads. We barely see you anymore. But Emily's already gathering her things, avoiding eye contact. Typical. Run away when things get uncomfortable. Michael, Liam says quietly, maybe Brianna's right. We should review the safety protocols, just to be thorough. I stare at him. What game is he playing? An excellent suggestion, Dad says, tension easing from his shoulders. See, Brianna? No need for dramatics. Liam's handling it. Of course. Make himself look reasonable while painting me as hysterical. I stand up, napkin dropping to the floor. I need some air. Outside, the night air does nothing to cool my anger. My phone buzzes, a text from Alex. Dance class misses you, especially your 2 left feet. Before I can reply, another message appears. This one from an unknown number. Stop digging. Some things should stay buried. I screenshot it immediately, hands shaking. Through the dining room window, I can see Liam and Dad, heads bent together, probably discussing their secret acquisition. Mother's clearing plates, her movements mechanical. Emily's car is already gone. The company's logo glows from the building across the street, visionary optics in sleek modern letters. Dad's vision, his legacy, our family's name. I type back to Alex. Rain check on dance class. I've got some buried things to uncover. The unknown number's threat glows in the darkness. They want me to back off? They clearly don't know what happens when someone tells me to stop. I head for my car. The office will be empty now. Perfect time to do some unauthorized digging into this mysterious acquisition. Let's see what else my dear brother-in-law's been hiding. The security guard barely glances up as I swipe my keycard. Night shifts are quiet at Visionary Optics, perfect for digging through files I'm not supposed to see. My heels echo through empty corridors as I make my way to Liam's office. His computer's locked, but I didn't spend 4 years in IT before finance for nothing. 3 minutes later, I'm in. The acquisition files are buried deep, deliberately hidden from the financial department's servers. My hands freeze over the keyboard as I scan the documents. Oh, you bastard. The numbers tell a story Liam never wanted found. He's been funneling development funds through shell companies, cutting corners on safety testing while pocketing the difference. The acquisition isn't an expansion, It's a cover-up. Working late? I jump. Liam stands in the doorway, silhouetted against the hallway lights. How long has he been there? Just reviewing some reports. I minimize the screen, but we both know it's too late. He steps inside, closing the door behind him. You know, I always wondered why Michael kept you in finance instead of promoting you to management. Now I see why. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. You lack discretion. Like the discretion you showed with the safety protocols? I stand, putting the desk between us. Or the discretion in hiding millions in diverted funds. You're seeing conspiracy where there's only business strategy. He moves closer. Though I admit, your dedication to uncovering corporate fraud is admirable. Misguided, but admirable. I'm going to tell Dad everything. Are you? Liam perches on the desk edge. The same way you told him about the incident reports? How did that work out? My throat tightens. This is different. There's proof. Proof you obtained by illegally accessing my computer? He gestures at the screen. That's a fireable offense, Brianna. Possibly criminal. Imagine how disappointed Michael would be. He'll be more disappointed learning his golden boy is a fraud. Will he? Liam's voice softens with fake concern. Or will he see his desperate daughter, so eager for Daddy's approval that she'd fabricate evidence against her brother-in-law? I didn't fabricate anything. Your word against mine. And we both know who Michael trusts more. He stands, straightening his jacket. Be smart, Bree. Drop this crusade before you hurt yourself. Or worse, hurt the company. Is that a threat? A friendly warning. Family looking out for family. He heads for the door, then pauses. Oh, and that anonymous text? Consider it a preview. There are people invested in keeping certain things quiet. People less familial than me. After he leaves, I sit in the dark, hands shaking. The screen glows with evidence that could destroy Liam, or me, if I can't prove it's legitimate. My phone buzzes. Emily. Hey sis, got a minute? It's midnight, Em. I saw your car at the office. What are you doing there? I stare at Liam's emails, the fraudulent reports, the diverted funds. Nothing, just work. Bree. She hesitates. Maybe you should let this go, whatever it is. Like you let go of everything else? The words come out bitter. Some things matter, Emily. Some things are worth fighting for. And some fights aren't worth losing everything over. She sighs. Just be careful, okay? I hang up and start copying files to my secure drive. Emily's wrong. Some things are worth losing everything for. Justice, truth, family legacy. My phone buzzes again. Another anonymous text. Final warning. Walk away or watch everything burn. I screenshot it, adding it to my evidence folder. Let them threaten me. Let Liam play his mind games. I'm done being the quiet, compliant daughter. A notification pops up. Someone's accessing the server room 2 floors down. The security logs show Liam's keycard. Destroying evidence? Not if I can help it. I grab my drive and head for the stairs. If he wants to play dirty, I'll show him exactly how much damage a desperate daughter can do. Dad might not believe me now, but he will. Once I expose everything, he'll have to see the truth. And Liam? He'll learn what happens when you underestimate someone with nothing left to lose. The stairwell door closes behind me with a final click. Time to find out what my brother-in-law is trying to hide in the server room. Whatever it is, it better be worth risking everything for. Because after tonight, there's no going back. The server room door won't open. I swipe my card again, but the red light blinks mockingly. When did Liam revoke my access? My phone lights up with Mother's call. The third one tonight. Brianna, where are you? Your father's furious about the board meeting. What board meeting? The emergency session Liam called. Something about unauthorized access to confidential files? Her voice wavers. What have you done? The hallway spins. Liam's not destroying evidence, he's creating it. Against me. I have to go. I hang up, already running for the elevator. The board meeting room is 5 floors up, and I'm out of time. The elevator doors open to reveal Alex, holding 2 coffee cups. Thought you might need backup. How did you... Emily called. Said you were about to do something stupid. He hands me a coffee. I figured that meant you were finally standing up for yourself. Voices echo from the boardroom. Through the glass walls, I see Dad at the head of the table, Liam standing beside him with a PowerPoint displaying what looks like doctored server logs. I can't let you go in there, Alex says softly. Not yet. They're destroying everything I've found. No. He pulls out his phone, showing me a screen full of copied files. They're destroying what they think you found. The real evidence is safe. How? I have friends in cybersecurity. When you started digging, I had them watching. Everything Liam's done, every file he's altered, we have the originals. The boardroom door opens. Directors file out, faces grim. Dad stays seated, head in his hands. Liam spots me through the glass and smirks. Miss Chen. Harrison, the head of legal, approaches. The board has voted to suspend your access pending an investigation into corporate espionage. Corporate espionage? The words taste like ash. I was investigating fraud. According to these logs, you accessed restricted files, attempted to manipulate safety test data, and leaked confidential information to competitors. That's not. Your security clearance is revoked. Please surrender your key card. Alex steps forward. Actually, sir, you might want to hold off on that. And you are? Someone with copies of the original server logs, the ones showing who really accessed and altered those files. He glances at Liam, who's no longer smirking. Would the board be interested in comparing versions? Harrison's eyes narrow. That's privileged information. So is the evidence of fund misappropriation I found, I add, finding my voice, and the falsified safety reports, and the shell companies. Allegations without proof. Liam cuts in, joining us, just like your other accusations. Speaking of proof, Alex says pleasantly, those security cameras in the server room, they've been streaming to an independent server for weeks. Interesting footage from tonight? Liam's face drains of color. Dad appears behind him, looking older than I've ever seen him. What footage? Michael. Liam starts, but Dad raises a hand. Not you. Brianna, what footage? I meet his eyes, seeing uncertainty there for the first time. Give me 24 hours. I'll show you everything. This is ridiculous, Liam sputters. She's obviously working with 24 hours. Dad cuts him off. No suspensions, no accusations, just evidence. He turns to Harrison. Call another board meeting for tomorrow night. After they leave, my legs finally shake. Alex steadies me. You okay? No. I laugh shakily. But I will be. How did you know to do all this? Because I know you. You wouldn't risk everything without reason. He smiles. Also, Liam's terrible at covering his digital tracks. My phone buzzes. Another anonymous text. You were warned. Check your sister's studio. Emily. My heart stops. We need to go, now. Alex reads the text over my shoulder. I'll drive. As we rush to the elevator, I glance back at the boardroom. Dad's watching through the glass, his expression unreadable. Tomorrow night, he'll have to choose between his trusted son-in-law and his difficult daughter. But first, I have to make sure Emily's safe, because Liam just showed exactly how far he'll go to keep his secrets buried. And I just showed him exactly how far I'll go to dig them up. Emily's studio door hangs open when we arrive, paint fumes mixing with night air. Inside, canvases lie slashed on the floor, frames splintered, Emily nowhere in sight. Emily! My voice echoes through the empty space. Alex checks the back room while I scan the destruction. Her latest collection, 6 months of work, reduced to ribbons. A laptop sits open on her desk, screen cracked but still glowing. A video plays on loop, security footage from Visionary Optics showing me accessing Liam's computer. She's not here. Alex returns, phone in hand. But her car is. My phone rings. Emily's number. Where are you? Safe. Her voice sounds strange. Unlike your career after tomorrow's board meeting. What did he tell you? The truth. Finally. She laughs, hollow and unfamiliar, about how you've been trying to destroy his reputation, how you doctored those safety reports. That's not... He showed me everything, Bree. The altered files, the fake evidence, your little vendetta because Dad trusts him more than you. Emily, listen. No, you listen. Drop this. Whatever crusade you're on, whatever point you're trying to prove, it's done. Or next time it won't just be my artwork that gets destroyed. The line goes dead. Alex touches my shoulder, but I pull away, moving to the nearest ruined canvas. Emily's signature style, abstract figures in motion, now crossed with violent slashes. He's using her against me. My fingers trace a severed brushstroke, making her think I'm the threat. We have the evidence. Evidence doesn't matter if no one believes it. I turn to face him. You didn't see Dad's face when Liam first joined the company, like he'd finally found the son he always wanted. My phone buzzes. An email from an anonymous account. Inside, photos of Emily's destroyed studio from different angles, taken before we arrived. The message reads, "Final warning. Walk away or watch everything burn." They were waiting for us to find this. Alex studies the timestamps. They wanted you to see what they're capable of. No. I forward the email to myself, then delete it from my phone. They wanted to show me what I have to lose. A new text arrives. Dad, your mother's worried sick. Come home. We can discuss this as a family. Don't go, Alex says. It's a trap. Of course it is. I pocket my phone, but I need to know how deep this goes, how many people Liam's turned against me. Then I'm coming with you. No. I meet his eyes. I need you to do something else. That former employee who filed the first safety complaint, find them. They might be our only chance at independent verification. And you? I'm going to give them exactly what they want, a family discussion. Mother opens the door before I can knock, pulling me into a desperate hug. Inside, Dad and Liam sit in the living room, Emily perched between them like a frightened bird. We're worried about you, sweetheart, Mother says, leading me in. This obsession with conspiracy theories? They're not theories. I remain standing while they all sit, united against me. Ask Emily about her studio. A terrible act of vandalism, Liam says smoothly. Probably the same competitors trying to discredit our company. Brianna, Dad leans forward. This has gone too far. Your accusations, your illegal accessing of files, you're putting everything we've built at risk. I'm trying to save it. By destroying your own family? Emily's voice cracks. What happened to you? Looking at them, Mother's pleading eyes, Dad's disappointment, Emily's fear, Liam's subtle smirk. Something shifts inside me. They're not just against me. They're afraid of what I might do. Good. My phone vibrates. Alex found the former employee. They're willing to talk. You're right, I say quietly. This has gone too far. I meet Liam's eyes. I'll have my resignation ready for tomorrow's board meeting. Relief floods their faces, all except Liam's. He knows me too well to believe I'd give up so easily. Let them think they've won. Let them believe I'm broken. Tomorrow, when the real evidence comes out, they'll learn what family loyalty really means. And Liam? He'll learn that some warnings should be heeded, especially his own. The boardroom feels colder than usual. 14 pairs of eyes watch me set up my presentation while Liam whispers something to Dad. My hands don't shake anymore. I'm past fear now. Alex's message burns in my pocket. Sarah Chen won't testify. Someone got to her first. Our whistleblower, bought off or scared off. But it doesn't matter. I have enough without her. Miss Chen, Harrison begins, you called this meeting to present evidence of alleged misconduct. Please proceed. I launch the presentation. Spreadsheets, server logs, safety reports, everything Alex helped me recover. These documents show systematic fraud and negligence in product safety testing. Doctored documents, Liam interrupts, as I demonstrated yesterday. These are the originals. I pull up the metadata, time-stamped and authenticated. By who? Dad's voice cuts through the room. Your photographer friend, some underground hacker? By our own security protocols. I click to the next slide. Every file access, every modification, every deletion, it's all logged, including Liam's attempts to cover his tracks. Murmurs ripple through the board. Liam's smile doesn't waver, but his knuckles whiten around his pen. And this proves what exactly? Harrison asks. That Liam knowingly shipped defective products, that he diverted safety funding through shell companies, The boardroom door opens. Emily walks in, holding a USB drive. Sorry I'm late. She won't meet my eyes. But I have something the board needs to see. No, not Emily. Not this. She plugs in the drive. New documents fill the screen. Emails between me and Alex, planning how to access restricted servers. Photos of me entering Liam's office after hours. Financial records showing suspicious transfers to offshore accounts. All fake, all perfect. My sister is unwell, Emily says softly. She's been obsessed with destroying Liam ever since Dad promoted him instead of her. That's not true, but my voice sounds weak even to me. The transfers came from your personal account, Harrison notes, studying the records. Those are forged. Like the documents you're presenting? Liam stands. Brianna, we want to help you, but this vendetta has to stop. Michael, Harrison turns to Dad. Given the evidence of corporate espionage and possible criminal behavior, we need to take immediate action. Dad won't look at me. I agree. This is what he wants. I slam my hands on the table. He's manipulating all of you. Emily, tell them about your studio. Tell them what he did. What you did, you mean. Emily's voice trembles. To frame him, the security footage shows you there last night, before Alex and you discovered the damage. The room spins. They planned this perfectly. Every defense, every piece of evidence, turned against me. I move to terminate Brianna Chen's employment, Harrison announces, and pursue legal action for corporate espionage and defamation. Seconded. Another board member calls. All in favor? Hands rise around the table. Dad's goes up last, still not meeting my eyes. Brianna Chen, you are hereby terminated. Security will escort you out. The police have been notified. My phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. Check the news. As if on cue, phones around the room start chiming. Harrison checks his, face paling. Michael, you need to see this. Dad's expression changes as he reads. Liam grabs his own phone, that perfect smile finally cracking. I open the link. Breaking. Visionary Optics CEO's son-in-law linked to multiple product failures. Whistleblower releases damning evidence. Sarah Chen didn't disappear. She went public. The meeting is adjourned, Harrison announces quickly. No one speaks to the press. But reporters are already gathering in the lobby. Photos of injured customers flood social media. Stock prices plummet in real time. You planned this, Liam hisses as chaos erupts around us. You knew? No. I gather my things calmly. I just learned from you about backup plans, about family loyalty, about burning everything down. I head for the door, pausing beside Emily. Check your email. The real security footage from your studio is there. See who your husband really is. Dad calls after me, but I keep walking. Let them deal with the press. Let them explain the cover-up. Let them watch everything burn. Because sometimes, the only way to save a family legacy is to tear it down and start over. My phone buzzes again. Alex, ready for Plan B? I smile for the first time in days. Burn it all down. The lobby of Visionary Optics churns with reporters. Through the glass walls, I watch Liam trying to charm his way through a press conference while Dad sits stone-faced beside him. Their words don't matter anymore. Sarah Chen's testimony is everywhere, along with leaked photos of injured customers. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing. Emily's latest text, the studio footage. It was really him? I don't respond. Some betrayals can't be fixed with words. Miss Chen, reporters surge forward as I enter. Can you comment on the safety violations? Is it true your brother-in-law threatened you? Did your father know about the cover-up? Alex appears at my side, camera in hand. Not photographing me, photographing Liam's face as he spots me through the crowd. His perfect mask finally cracks. No questions, I say clearly, but I have evidence to share. Liam abandons his podium, rushing toward me. Security, she's been terminated. Remove her. Actually, Harrison steps forward, tablet in hand. The board has reversed that decision pending new evidence. He glances at his screen. Evidence that's still coming in. Dad stands slowly. What evidence? What? I pull out my phone, connecting it to the lobby's display screens. Emails fill the walls, hundreds of them. Customer complaints buried by Liam's department. Safety warnings ignored. Money trails leading to offshore accounts. Everything's verified. Alex adds, addressing the cameras. Timestamps, metadata, bank records. No doctored files this time. Liam laughs, but it sounds hollow. More desperate accusations. Michael, surely you don't believe... The board believes it, Harrison cuts in, as do the FDA investigators who just arrived. Dad's face goes ash gray as federal agents enter the lobby. This wasn't part of my plan. Sarah Chen must have gone to them independently. Michael, Liam starts, reaching for Dad's arm. We can explain. Dad jerks away. Did you know? His voice cracks. About the injuries? Of course not. This is all Brianna's vendetta because you chose me over. Answer the question, I interrupt. Did you know about the 14-year-old girl who's partially blind now? The college student with third-degree burns? Did you read any of their letters? Letters? Dad turns to me. They wrote to you directly, but Liam's team intercepted them all. I switched the displays to show the original messages, just like they intercepted my reports, my meeting requests, everything that might expose the truth. Liam's charm evaporates. You self-righteous bitch. You really think you've won? That Daddy will finally love you best? No. I meet Dad's eyes. I think he'll finally see the truth. About you, about himself, about what really matters. Mr. Reynolds, an FDA agent approaches Liam. We need you to come with us. Michael, please. Liam's desperation shows now. Everything I did was for the company, for our family. Family? Emily's voice cuts through the chaos. She stands in the doorway, holding her phone displaying the security footage from her studio. Is that what you call this? Liam lunges. At me, at the screens, at his crumbling lies. Security catches him as reporters surge forward, cameras flashing. Brianna. Dad's voice barely carries over the chaos. I didn't know. I should have. Yes, I say simply. You should have. I can fix this. We can rebuild. No, Dad. You can't fix this. You can't fix us. I step back. Some things, once broken, stay broken. Then why? His eyes search mine. Why expose everything if not to save the company? Because truth matters more than legacy. Because some prices are worth paying. I glance at Liam being led away. Because real family protects each other, not their profits. The reporters close in as Liam's taken out in handcuffs, shouting questions about federal charges and class action lawsuits. Emily stands alone, tears streaming as she watches her husband's disgrace. Mother arrives, too late as usual, trying to make peace where none exists. Alex touches my arm. Ready to go? I look at my family one last time. Broken, exposed, finally forced to face the truth. Dad reaches for me, but I turn away. Yeah, I say. I'm ready. Behind us, Visionary Optics logo flickers and dies, taking with it the weight of expectations I've carried my whole life. Sometimes victory feels like loss. Sometimes justice tastes like ashes. And sometimes that's exactly how it should be. The dance studio mirrors reflect unfamiliar movements as Alex guides me through basic steps. My body remembers different rhythms. Board meetings, confrontations, the steady march of revenge. You're thinking too hard again, he says, adjusting my posture. Force of habit. My phone buzzes on the bench. Emily's daily update. Liam's trial starts next week. Dad's stepping down as CEO. Mother's selling the house. Each message carries the weight of a world dismantled. You could answer it, Alex says softly. Not yet. The studio door opens. Sarah Chen walks in, her scarred temple catching the light. The whistleblower who helped bring everything down, now funding her medical bills with settlement money. Sorry I'm early, she says. The support group ended sooner than expected. I release Alex's hands. How are the other victims? Healing, some faster than others. She sets down her bag. Your father came to today's meeting. My steps falter. What? He wanted to hear our stories. All of them. No lawyers, no press. She meets my eyes. He cried when Jessica's mother spoke. The 14-year-old girl, the one whose injury started everything. He's trying, Alex says quietly. Trying doesn't fix what happened. No, Sarah agrees. But it's more than most corporate CEOs do after a fall. The evening sun paints shadows across the floor as we practice. Sarah learns quickly, her movements growing more confident with each step, like she's reclaiming something Liam's negligence tried to take. My phone buzzes again. Dad's number this time, with a photo attached. I open it despite myself. It's an old picture. Me at 12, presenting my first financial analysis of his company. written in crayon, full of impossible dreams and a daughter's pride. His message reads, "I kept every report you ever gave me. Should have read them more carefully." "Brianna," Alex touches my shoulder. "The company board called again. They still want you as CEO. I know. You could change things, make it right. That's not my responsibility anymore." I set the phone down. Dad built his legacy. Let him face what it became. Sarah clears her throat. "Actually, that's partly why I'm here early. The victims' families, we've been talking about starting something new, a watchdog organization for tech companies, focused on consumer protection. And we need someone who understands both sides, the business and the human cost." She straightens. "Someone who chose truth over family loyalty." Alex smiles. "Sounds familiar." I study our reflections. The photographer who saw past my defenses, the whistleblower who chose justice over settlement money, and me. No longer seeking validation through spreadsheets and father's approval. "I'll think about it," I tell Sarah. My phone lights up one last time. "Emily, found something in the studio wreckage. Come see." I hesitate, then type, "Tomorrow, bring coffee." "Ready to try again?" Alex asks, extending his hand. I take it, letting him guide me through the steps. The rhythm feels different now. Less like marching, more like moving forward. Sarah watches, her scars visible but her smile genuine. Sometimes revenge doesn't end in triumph or tragedy. Sometimes it ends in a dance studio, learning new steps with people who chose truth over comfort. Sometimes justice looks like starting over, building something better from the ashes of what burned. "You're not thinking anymore," Alex notes as we turn. "No," I agree. "Just dancing." Outside, the city lights blink on. Somewhere, Dad faces the consequences of his choices. Somewhere, Emily sifts through the wreckage of her marriage. Somewhere, Mother packs away decades of carefully maintained illusions. But here, in this moment, there's just the dance. The simple truth of movement and trust and letting go. Sarah joins us, stumbling at first but finding her balance. 3 people marked by the same betrayal, choosing to move forward instead of looking back. "Ready for the next step?" Alex asks. I smile, finally understanding. The next step isn't about revenge or legacy or even family. It's about choice, about building something new. "Yes," I say. "I'm ready." The music plays on and we dance, leaving the weight of old stories behind with each turn. Some wounds don't heal completely. Some families don't mend perfectly. Some dances are better for their broken rhythms, and that's okay too.
Cake, no need for it. Go ahead and toss it out. That's what my husband said on my birthday. He had the audacity to go on a trip with his mistress. I had hoped this would be our last chance, but it seems I was mistaken. I really don't think I can continue living with you anymore. Understood. In that case, I'll do as you said. I'll throw out the cake, and I'll throw out something else that's important to you as well. Then prepare yourself, because I'm going to throw out the thing that is most unnecessary to me. My name is Sarah. I'm a 28-year-old office worker. My husband, Bob, also works in an office, although at a different company. We don't have any children. Bob and I met a year ago at a party held by a senior colleague from work. I'm rather plain, a bit overweight, introverted, and gloomy, and my hobby is reading comic books. I'm an indoor person, so I was only invited to the party to make up the numbers. Knowing this, I didn't join the conversation much, and just drank my beverage at the edge of the table. Still, out of all the participants there, Bob, who was the most handsome, outgoing, and good at conversing, actively started talking to me. Bob enjoys traveling and collecting vintage vinyl records, and he told me stories about his travels and old music, which were really interesting. When it was time to go home, he asked for my contact details, and though I was surprised, we exchanged our information on Facebook. The very next day, he messaged me, "I'd like to meet up, just the two of us, next time." I was so surprised that at first I wondered if this was some kind of punishment game, or if it was going to try to sell me something. But I was happy, so I agreed, and we had a meal together on a later date. After that, he frequently asked me out, and after a few dates, he confessed his feelings for me. I had never had a boyfriend in my life before, so I was overjoyed at my first ever confession and accepted it. Then, about 3 months after we started dating, he proposed, and we got married. I thought it was like a dream that someone as ordinary and boring as me could marry such a wonderful person, and I believed that a happy life was about to start. But as soon as we got married, Bob's attitude completely changed. When we were dating, he was very kind, but once we got married, he started pushing all the household chores on me and would just laza around watching TV or listening to records in his room when he got back from work. I don't know if it's because the volume of the records is loud, but when I call out, "Dinner is ready," he doesn't seem to hear me and often doesn't come right away, which irritates me. On his days off, he leaves me alone and goes out to play, saying he has plans with friends or colleagues from work. When I say, "Please help me with the household chores a little," he replies, "I'm working." When I tell him, "I'm working too, I'd appreciate it if you could at least help with the household chores on your days off," he says, "I'm busy even on my days off because I have to hang out with my friends. Unlike you, who don't have many friends because you're so gloomy." Ain't that last remark just awful? Sure, I'm not exactly Miss Social Butterfly due to my personality. I get it, but to say such things to my face, that's just plain rude, ain't it? I thought, but I didn't want to start a fight, so I kept it to myself. Gradually, Bob started nitpicking about the way I cooked and cleaned, and before long, he started hurling insults like, "You should be grateful that a great guy like me even bothered to marry a plain and overweight woman like you." I thought a real gentleman wouldn't say such things to his wife and would also help with housework. If he's got issues with the way I clean, I wish he'd at least clean his own room. The only thing he takes care of is his record collection. Also, I love reading comic books and have collected quite a few over the years. But one day, I found that all the comic books I had in my room had vanished. I asked Bob, suspecting the worst, and he said, "Oh, they were in the way, so I threw them out." I couldn't believe it. Those were important to me. Some of them were even out of print and hard to get. I protested, but he just said, "Well, your comic books were starting to overflow from your room into the living room. Besides, you should outgrow this childish hobby of reading comic books." How dare he criticize my hobbies and throw away my stuff without even asking me? Unforgivable. If he's going to be this awful and verbally abusive, why did he even marry me? Probably, Bob just wanted a free housekeeper. When he met me at a party and saw that I was quite unsubmissive, he must have thought I was an easy target. Realizing this, I've spent many nights crying in bed. It's manageable now, but if we were to have kids, I shudder to think what the future might hold. One day, a friend told me she saw Bob walking arm in arm with a woman who wasn't me in the hotel district. Just yesterday, he said he was going out to meet a friend. I was under the impression that this friend was a man. What does it mean he was meeting a woman? Could he be cheating? With these suspicions, I hired a private investigator. As expected, it turned out that Bob was cheating on me. The other woman was a junior colleague from his office, named Susan. He had been cheating on me since we got married. Whenever he said he was going out to meet friends or colleagues, it was mostly dates with Susan. How dare he dump all the housework on me and then play around? I'm going to divorce him, I thought, and even consulted a lawyer. But even so, I couldn't completely hate Bob, who allowed even a plain and boring woman like me to dream a little about marriage. So I decided to make one last bet. This coming Saturday is my birthday. If Bob would celebrate the day with me, I thought I would hold off on the divorce. At dinner, I said to Bob, "Bob, do you remember what's coming up this Saturday?" Saturday. Is there something special going on?" I was a little shocked to realize that he had completely forgotten. At this point, my hopes were dashed again. When I continued the conversation, "It's my birthday." "Oh yeah, now that you mention it, well, it falls on a day off this year, so I was thinking of getting a cake and having it together." You promise, right? Absolutely do not make any other plans." "Okay." With a somewhat praying feeling, I said this to Bob, who seemed reluctant. Then it was the Friday before my birthday. During dinner, Bob said, "I have a business trip tomorrow." "What? Tomorrow is my birthday, and we promised to eat cake together. I have already made a reservation." When I said that, he replied, "Well, it's work. I can't help it. Show some understanding for your husband's work. Anyway, I'm going on a business trip tomorrow. It's for 2 days and 1 night. So I'll be back on Sunday evening. Please pack for me." "What about the cake I reserved?" I asked. "Just throw it away if you don't need it," he said casually. I couldn't believe it. Despite it being my special birthday and going through the trouble of reserving a cake, he nonchalantly told me to throw it away. Was it really a business trip? feeling suspicious. I checked his smartphone while Bob was in the shower. There, I found his exchanges with his mistress. Shall we go somewhere on a trip, the Saturday for 2 days and 1 night? Sounds good. I want to go camping. How about it? Then I'll make a reservation at Awaji. Are you sure your wife hasn't found out? Are you okay? I'm okay. She's oblivious. Actually, this Saturday is Sarah's birthday. She said let's celebrate together, but it's a hassle. I don't want her to start demanding gifts and stuff, so I thought I'd go on a trip with you. Wow, that's terrible. Your wife must be so sad. I almost cried from the shock, but somehow managed to hold back and took a screenshot of their conversation on my smartphone. I didn't really want any gifts or anything extravagant. If you had just agreed to have a slice of cake with me, I might have held on to a shred of hope that you cared. But seeing those messages between you and your mistress crushed that last bit of optimism. That's Isham done. On my birthday, Bob had the nerve to show up at the door and say, I'm heading out while I'm on this business trip. Can you clean my room? Also, I'm picking up the cake we reserved today. You still want me to toss your share of it, right? You're being annoying. I said it's fine. Got it. I'll clean your room and discard anything I think you don't need. That's okay with you, right? Yeah, fine. I'm leaving now. With that, Bob left for what he claimed was a business trip, but was really a getaway with his mistress. Remember when I asked if it was okay to throw away anything I deemed unnecessary, and you said, yeah, it's fine. I recorded our conversation, so there's no taking it back. Once I was in Bob's room, I vacuumed and cleaned the windows. Then I got rid of the unwanted items, old clothes, piles of stationery, and his cherished record collection. I packed everything up and put it in the storeroom. I also left the completed divorce papers on the living room table and then left the house. It was my birthday, after all, and I was determined to enjoy it. I picked up the reserved cake and then checked into a luxury hotel I'd always wanted to stay in. I savored the cake in my hotel room. Bob said to throw it away, but I couldn't bring myself to waste food, so I ate both pieces. It was delicious, but now I'm worried about gaining weight and need to start dieting. I spend the rest of the day shopping and strolling by the nearby sea. After days of doing housework, it felt wonderful to have a leisurely day. Just as I was reflecting on this, Bob called me on Sunday night. I really didn't want to answer, but I had no choice. Hello. Hey, where the heck are you? I got back from my business trip, and you're not home, and there's no dinner. How frustrating. He was ruining my relaxing hotel stay. I'm staying in a hotel for personal reasons. It's a beautiful spot here. Will you like a picture? What are you talking about? I don't care about that. Why are you in a hotel? Where's my dinner? Also, I found divorce papers. What's going on? Well, if there are divorce papers, you should know what to do. Are you planning to make a paper airplane out of them? Just sign and take them to City Hall. So, you want a divorce? Yes, honestly, I'm exhausted. Bob, you leave me to manage everything on your days off and never help with chores. The first thing you do when you call me is complain about dinner. It's unbelievable. And my record collection is missing. What happened to it? Oh, I threw it away. Bob's voice escalated. You threw them away? Are you serious? You knew how much I cherished those. But Bob, you told me before your business trip that I could throw away anything I deemed unnecessary. You said it was fine, so I did. I even recorded our conversation if you want to listen. And by the way, you also threw away my cherished comics, didn't you? That is anyway. Don't just drop divorce papers on me and walk away. I understand. Let's meet and discuss this properly. So, a few days later, even though I had no desire to see Bob again, we had to meet at the lawyer's office. Bob, whom I hadn't seen in days, showed up in disheveled clothes with unkempt hair. I used to be the one who took care of his wardrobe. Maybe his conditioner was running out, but he could certainly buy more himself. Seeing him in such a sloppy state made me question why I ever had feelings for him. I was relieved my concern about potentially changing my mind after seeing him again was unfounded. When the meeting began, I made my position clear. I'll start by saying I haven't changed my mind about the divorce. This is the amount I'm requesting for alimony. I presented the figure I had in mind, and Bob's reaction was immediate and loud. $30 million. Sarah, that's absurd. Just for not helping with housework. Not just for that, I replied, unimpressed. You constantly belittled me, called me names, and worst of all, there's this. I produced the evidence of his infidelity, obtained from a detective agency. I also showed him screenshots of our conversations from that time. You've been cheating since we got married, even lying about a business trip on my birthday to spend time with your mistress. Given all this, 30 million is still not enough. So, Sarah, you knew about the affair. Bob's face went pale as he looked at the evidence. Yes. Did you think I didn't notice? Don't underestimate me, and don't forget, you threw away my beloved comics. But that's because you threw away my records. Oh, the records. I actually lied about that. I considered throwing them out but decided it would be too harsh. I didn't want to be blamed for it, so I kept them. The records are stored at the back of the storeroom. What? Seeing Bob's relieved expression, I said, why are you so relieved? You still threw away my comics, so you need to compensate for that. And as for the cake, you told me to throw it away, but I couldn't waste food, so I ate both pieces. So, you didn't throw anything away? Bob asked, looking confused. I chuckled and said, no need for confirmation. I declared I'd discard anything I didn't need, and I've done just that. Actually, I'm about to do it. Huh? Bob seemed baffled. I smiled more broadly and said, you're the thing I need the least. I'm going to get rid of you completely. Once you grasp that, please finalize the divorce. The alimony won't be less than this amount, and if you argue, it'll go up. Bob began to wail. I'm sorry, I won't cheat again, and I'll help with the housework if you stay. Help with the housework, so you can go on dates with your mistress, and leave me to handle everything on your days off. No, that's not happening. Bob, distraught, muttered, I'm trash. His broken expression was almost satisfying. Afterward, the divorce was finalized. Since then, all communication has been through our lawyer, and I haven't seen Bob. According to my lawyer, Bob, who had left all housework to me, struggled with domestic duties. He briefly lived with Susan, but their place quickly fell into disarray. They mostly ate out, leading to a poor diet, and Bob started gaining weight. His once handsome face now looked quite unkempt. Susan eventually left him for another job, and rumors of their affair circulated at work, causing Bob further discomfort. He can't quit his job because the alimony I requested is substantial. As for me, I've switched jobs and moved. I'm now enjoying a peaceful life on my own, free from housework and stress. I've been told I look brighter and a bit thinner, and if I continue to lose weight, I might just make Bob regret his decisions even more. You're jetting off abroad for a vacation, and you call yourself a wife. You must be joking. It's not a vacation. I'm attending a wedding ceremony. Shut up. You're married. You shouldn't leave the house. Do you want a divorce? The person relentlessly railing at me is none other than my husband. Since when? When did my gentleman turn into a man like this? Being restricted, even from attending my best friend's wedding, feels like being a slave. With a life like this, I have reached my limit. Look forward to it. Okay, I'll send you straight to hell in no time. My name is Emily, and I'm 29. I leveraged my experience of working part-time in a clothing store during my student days to become an independent entrepreneur 2 years ago. I opened an online boutique that sells clothes and accessories. A little before starting my own line, I married my boyfriend, Nick. It was thanks to him that I was able to start my own business. In the beginning, I struggled to get my business on track and fell down many times. Nevertheless, I managed to overcome it all thanks to Nick. Every time I faced a challenge, he would always say with a smile, Emily, you'll be fine. Even if things are hard now, there will surely come a time when you'll succeed. I hope so, but if things don't get better, I will be a burden to you, Nick. Don't worry about it. I want to support you, Emily, and I want to be there for you. But I would earn better if I got employed like I used to. You always said you wanted your own shop, Emily, didn't you? That dream has come true now. I'm here right by your side, so let's try a little harder together. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Nick. I'll do my best. With the support of my husband, I decided to continue running my shop. I took full advantage of social media for marketing to gain more exposure online. Thanks to that, I managed to significantly increase the number of customers. My target base is of a wide age range, so I have a large number of users. Everything is done online, so I don't have to pay rent or labor costs. Above all, I can do it alongside housework at home, so I can continue working without feeling overwhelmed. Things are stable now, and I earn a decent income. Although my business took off, there was one thing bothering me. My husband was becoming more and more indifferent towards me day by day. As my business did better, I felt his words and actions becoming colder. I think it all started over something simple. A few months ago, the sales from the previous month had finally reached my target. I was so happy, and at the same time, my feeling of gratitude for my husband even grew deeper. That night, I immediately brought up the news to my husband who returned from work. "Nick, listen. Emily, what's the matter? You seem in such a hurry." "I finally did it. I hit my sales target for last month." You set your goal pretty high, didn't you?" "Yes, we've been pretty close for a while, but I finally hit the target last month. Thanks to you for supporting me." "Thank you." Good for you. I'm tired today. I'm gonna take a shower and go to bed." After leaving his bag on the sofa and leaving the living room, my husband went to sleep without even eating the dinner I had prepared. What happened? He'd been so supportive, so I thought he'd be thrilled, but his reaction was lukewarm at best. Was he just really tired? I had expected us to celebrate together, so my husband's response came as a surprise. That said, there's no way I could force my tired husband to be happy. From then on, his demeanor towards me gradually grew colder each day. At first, I thought it was just because he was tired or not in the mood, but as this went on for weeks, even I started to feel uncomfortable. Before I knew it, he started looking down on me at every opportunity. Whenever I was on my computer, he'd stand behind me sneering while peeking at the screen. "What? Checking your sales? You timed it to show me the screen on purpose, trying to brag or something." "What are you talking about? I have no such intentions." "Nick, you peeked at the screen by yourself." What kind of wife stays on her laptop when her husband's home? Or what, are you trying to show off? Saying I'm so busy with work or something?" "It's not like that. You've been so cold to me lately." "Nick, did I do something wrong?" Despite being shocked by my husband's cold attitude, I still asked him about his true feelings. Then he sighed with an air of annoyance and blurted out, "Phew, it's exhausting. I come home tired from work, and why do I have to deal with someone so emotional?" "Emotional? Why do you always speak like that? I just wanted to share some good news with you, because I've been trying hard and you've always supported me. That's what pisses me off about you. I couldn't care less about your sales. Instead of getting excited about such things, try improving your housekeeping skills a bit." "Hey, there's no need to talk like that. What I'm saying is right, isn't it? Quit showing off how busy you are with work. Do it again, and I'm out of here. Got it?" Hey. Being told such things by my beloved husband, my mind was in turmoil for a moment, my heart filled with emptiness, and before I knew it, a tear was trickling down my cheek. Instead of apologizing, he had a sneering smile on his face, a demonic smile I had never seen before. I was taken aback by my husband, who could show such an expression without hesitation. From that day on, his attitude only worsened. I was no longer allowed to speak freely as I used to, and I always had to walk on eggshells around him. One day, I found a wedding invitation from my best friend in our mailbox. Elena and I went to middle school and high school together, and we've always been close. We kept in touch regularly even after we became adults. When she got married, I remember being excited as if I were the one getting married. Now she's abroad with her husband, and the invitation said the ceremony would take place overseas. I've been stressed about my husband, so this was great news to me. It felt like a ray of light in my oppressive daily life. I was thinking of when to tell my husband about this. Before I could bring it up, my husband found the invitation on the table. "Hey, what's this?" He read through the invitation and approached me with a clearly sour expression. "What do you mean?" "It's a wedding invitation from my best friend, Elena. But this is taking place abroad. You're not going, right?" Of course I'm going." As I said that, my husband slammed his hand on the table with a devilish look on his face. He let out a deep voice I never heard before. "You've got to be kidding me. While I'm working my butt off day in and day out, you're just lounging around at home on the computer, and now you're planning on skipping housework again just because of a wedding." "No, you've got it wrong. That's not it. I just want to attend Elena's wedding." "Shut up. We're married. You shouldn't leave the house. Do you want to get a divorce?" Being so casually threatened with divorce, I frowned on the spot. He continued his tirade mercilessly. "I feel bad for your best friend too, if you're only using her wedding as an excuse to leave home and not to celebrate her marriage." "What are you saying? It's my best friend's wedding. I'm attending only because I want to celebrate it. Just what's so hard to understand?" "Oh, you're so annoying. Quit being so cocky, because your business took off. It's your attitude that ticks me off. When will you get it, huh?" My husband shouted at me, our noses nearly touching. Overcome with fear, my legs gave way beneath me, seemingly amused by my reaction. He said, "Look, you should be grateful I married a woman like you. You were lucky, your business took off, and it was only because of my support. Now shut up and just do as I say." With that, he shoved the wedding invitation into the trash can. The moment he did that, I felt my blood rush back into my body. At this point, I was so infuriated that it would have been an understatement to say that my blood was boiling. He had not only thrown away my dear friend's invitation, but also insulted my feelings. I was so bitter I realized I had unconsciously bitten my lip hard. Unforgivable. Who does he take me for? Just because he hates me doesn't mean he can do whatever he wants. I'm not his slave, and being his wife does not make me his possession. If my days are going to continue like this, I might as well be the one to ruin it all. I don't care. I'm attending Elena's wedding no matter what. Without resisting, I bided my time until the wedding, carefully making preparations for my overseas trip so he wouldn't find out. On the day of departure, my silent obedience seemed to have paid off, and he had already forgotten about the wedding. Before leaving for work, he nagged at me as usual at the front door. "Don't skip your chores today. Make sure dinner is ready. Don't you ever go against me, okay?" "I know. Have a good day." "Phew, you got it easy, don't you? You get to lounge around at home every day. I wish we could switch places." "Yeah, well, I was the one who pushed you to have your own line. I wish you were more grateful. Maybe I'll cut back my contribution to the household expenses from next month. It doesn't make sense for me to be the only one struggling." Mumbling such things, my husband left the house, suppressing the urge to talk back. I patiently waited until he was out of sight. Once I confirmed that Nick was on his way to the station, I immediately began my preparations. I grabbed the suitcase I had packed in advance, called a cab, and headed for the airport. I then took a flight to meet Elena. When I arrived at the venue she had booked for me, my phone rang. It was my husband. He must have realized that I was gone as soon as he returned from work. As soon as I picked up the call, he began to yell, "Hey, Emily, where are you?" Without even having dinner ready. "I'm at Elena's wedding." "What wedding? I told you not to go. You broke your promise." "I never said I wouldn't go. I also don't remember making such a promise." "Don't mess with me. I discipline you over and over not to leave home. You're my wife, after all." "Disciplined? What are you talking about? That's just you forcing me to put up with your selfish expectations." Perhaps angered by my defiant attitude, he yelled, "That's it. We're getting a divorce. Look, if you don't want that, come back home now. Got it?" Without waiting for my response, he hung up the phone. No matter what he says, I don't care, because my mind is already made up. After my best friend's wedding, I spent a full day sightseeing before returning to the States. I arrived home prepared to have a talk with my husband, but he was nowhere to be found. On the table was a divorce paper. He had already signed it, and that wasn't all. My computer for work was completely smashed. As if to make a statement, by leaving the divorce papers and breaking my computer, he was probably trying to get back at me. There's not a shred of love left for him and me. I signed the divorce papers on the table and packed my things into my suitcase again. I took the divorce paper and headed to my parents' house. On my way there, I stopped by the city hall and submitted my divorce paper. When I arrived at my parents' house, I told them everything that had happened. My parents were surprised at first, but their faces hardened as they listened. If Nick had been there, my father would have definitely punched him. As I was relaxing at my parents' house, which I hadn't visited for a long time, my phone rang. It was a call from my husband. I didn't expect him to call this soon. I answered the phone without flinching. "Hello. It's been a while, Emily. You're back in the country, huh?" "I got back today. So what?" "You're cold, huh? Oh, maybe you were shocked that I filed for divorce, huh? Huh?" My husband seemed to think I was grieving. He continued in a condescending tone, which was noticeable even over the phone. "Relax. I'm not serious either. I just wanted you to reflect on yourself, so I gave you a little scare." "Reflect on myself? What for?" "You went abroad without my permission and had the time of your life." "Had the time of my life? I just attended Elena's wedding." "So, you're so persistent. That's what I mean by having the time of your life. Leaving your husband behind, abandoning your housework, and going on an overseas trip. You're disqualified as a wife, you little chick." "Enough already. Who do you think you are? Just because we're married, just because you're my husband, you think you have the right to control everything I do?" "What, Emily? Enough is enough. In the end, You just can't stand that I'm successful at work, right? You don't like having a wife who earns more than you. You're such a deadbeat. It's pathetic to be jealous of your wife. If it bothers you, go ahead and make more than I do. Emily, did you just say that? I'm seriously gonna break up with you. Go ahead. In fact, we're already divorced. What? I filed for divorce. There's no way I can continue being married to a piece of trash like you. Just so you know, if you think you can break me with such threats, you're wrong. I'm not gonna let you manipulate me. Don't ever show me that disgusting face of yours again. You jerk. He must have been taken aback by my harsh words. He fell silent, so I took the opportunity to say goodbye and hang up. Afterwards, I hired a lawyer and filed a claim for the damage to my desktop. His attempts to control me and his verbal abuse were well documented through text and voicemail messages, which proved invaluable in court. I was awarded damages, which drained his savings and left him in debt. His parents refused to help, stating it was his own fault, and he ended up borrowing money from loan sharks. Now he's trapped in a vicious cycle of debt, constantly borrowing to pay off what he owes. At work, his mistakes piled up, and he was eventually sidelined. In contrast, I've been living with my parents since the divorce. Thankfully, my job is flexible and doesn't tie me to a specific location, so I can continue my peaceful life here. My parents are happy to have me, and this arrangement seems likely to continue for the foreseeable future. I've come to realize that marriage isn't the only path to happiness. The most important thing is having a family that truly cares for you, and I found that solace once again.
My name is Kaana, and I'm a 30-year-old housewife. 2 years ago, I married Aoki, who is 6 years my senior. Since then, we've been living with his parents, Robert and Barbara, both in their 60s. Thankfully, they're in good health and still very active. However, Barbara's boundless energy seems to be channeled more into social activities than household chores. I'm not sure if this was her routine before I moved in or if it started then, but she rarely helps around the house. Despite being a stay-at-home mom who never worked outside the home, Barbara often leaves me with the bulk of the household duties. She'll say, "Dinner isn't ready yet, you had plenty of time, didn't you?" and then go out to enjoy herself. If I don't finish everything by the time she returns, she makes sarcastic comments. I've tried to manage my frustration, but it's challenging. Mother-in-law, I'm sorry, but I did mention earlier that I might not finish everything. Complaining again, it's just basic stuff, right? This is why I struggle with your generation. I wish you'd learn from Naoki. The snide remarks are bad enough, but what really stings is Barbara's constant bragging about Aoki's achievements. She delights in pointing out, "Naoki works so hard every day, but his wife can't even manage this." It's demoralizing, especially since my husband never seems to defend me. During dinners, Barbara will criticize me, and Aoki's only response is a disinterested, "Oh, really?" I used to think Aoki's maturity, being older, would be a strength, but now I feel like he sees me merely as a housemaid. Even when I'm up late doing chores, he doesn't say a word. Instead, he throws laundry at me, often aiming for my face, and says, "Hey, don't forget this too." I regret marrying someone who has changed so drastically since we tied the knot. For our first anniversary, he bought a cake but then threw a pie in my face, laughing about it. You wouldn't guess he's a 36-year-old man from his behavior. However, there's a silver lining in my life. Me father-in-law, Robert. Robert is kind and calm, always asking, "Thank you, Kaana. Is there anything difficult? I'll help you." He's the only person who treats me with genuine kindness in this household. Since I left my job to get married, he's become my only real companion. I've come to see him as a father figure. Unfortunately, Robert works as a senior staff member and isn't home during the day, which means I'm often alone with Barbara. Whenever I speak with Robert, Barbara's displeasure is palpable. and her attitude toward me seems to worsen. Don't look at your father-in-law like that. Just because Naoki ignores you doesn't mean you should go after his father. It's disgusting. Barbara's accusations became a regular occurrence, always said in a tone Robert couldn't hear. I tried to defend myself. That's not true at all. Oh, did I strike a nerve? Raising your voice now. Are we? How unbecoming. No matter how I tried to explain, Barbara always had a retort ready. Our conversations felt futile, like they never reached any understanding. I confided in Aoki, hoping he'd see through Barbara's delusions. Instead, he laughed and said, "So you're into men over 60 now? You're really open-minded." I was stunned. I had already given up hope that Aoki would help with the housework or address Barbara's behavior, but his reaction was a blow I hadn't anticipated. It made me feel even more out of place in this house. One summer day, Barbara announced, "We're planning a family trip for when Naoki's summer vacation starts." I braced myself for the usual, her excitement about going out, but then she added, "You're coming too, right, Kaona?" I was surprised by the invitation. I had expected them to go without me. "May, are you sure you want me to come?" "It's not that," Barbara said, her tone hinting at something I couldn't quite place. I was wary but uncertain of how to refuse. That evening, Aoki asked again, "So you're going on the trip, right?" "Yeah, Barbara invited me." Aoki's laughter was unsettling. "What's so funny?" I asked. "Oh, nothing," he replied, his tone evasive. My unease grew as the trip day approached. Aoki drove us to our destination, with Robert joining us later due to work commitments. In the car, it was just me, Aoki, and Barbara. Aoki driving, Barbara in the passenger seat, and me in the back. The limited view of their faces heightened my anxiety. "Kaona, you took out some money for the trip, right?" Barbara asked. "Yes, a few $100s. "Good," Barbara said with a smirk. As we drove, I noticed we had passed the sign for the inn where we were supposed to stay. "Didn't we just pass the inn?" I asked. "We're going to a tourist spot first. We'll check in later," Aoki said, his smile betraying something off. As we continued further from the inn, the scenery grew greener. I sighed quietly, making sure they didn't hear, as we eventually arrived at a dam. To be honest, the dam wasn't impressive. It was small and deserted, far from a tourist attraction. "Let's get out of the car," Barbara urged. "Don't leave any valuables inside. It could be risky," Aoki added, and I followed their instructions. As I prepared to exit the car, Barbara and Aoki acted as if they were busy. Barbara said, "I should take off my jewelry just in case," and Aoki muttered, "Oops, I still have something in my pocket," delaying their exit. I stepped out and closed the door, only to hear the distinct sound of the lock clicking shut. Aoki cracked the driver's and passengers' windows open just a bit. Laughter erupted from inside the car. Aoki's laughter was booming. "Hey, what are you doing out here? Planning to stay overnight?" Barbara's voice dripped with mockery. My frustration flared, but I tried to stay composed. "What do you mean?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "You got out on your own, didn't you?" Aoki laughed so hard he was holding his stomach. Realization he had left my wallet and cell phone in the car. Everything had gone according to their plan. "Well, Kaana, make yourself comfortable," Barbara said with a smirk. "Eat some grass and sleep outside." Aoki, still laughing, held up my wallet and flipped through it before rolling up the window. Their laughter faded as they drove off, leaving me behind. "Well, they're a handful, and it's so hot," I muttered to myself. Despite the sweltering summer heat and the risk of dehydration, I managed to stay calm. An hour later. Why are you here? Aoki looked astonished to see me. I was at the inn where we were supposed to stay. Are you a ghost? Did something happen at the dam? Barbara looked like she was about to faint. I considered pretending to be a ghost, but decided against it. I was determined to stay here tonight. I showed them the key to my room, which I had already left my luggage in. My husband, clearly confused and agitated, seemed to think I had taken their room key without permission. What are you doing? Give it back, he demanded. No, I said firmly. When he tried to snatch the key from me roughly, a man appeared and intervened, grabbing Aoki's hand. Sir, please refrain from causing a disturbance here, the man said. He was about the same age as Robert but had a sturdy build and was taller, giving him a more authoritative presence than my middle-aged, slightly overweight husband. Who are you? Are you staff here? Do you think you can treat a guest like this? I'll sue you for assault, Aoki yelled, his anger flaring. Barbara joined in, shouting at the man as well. The man calmly introduced himself. I apologize for not introducing myself earlier. I am the owner of this inn. Upon hearing this, Aoki quickly pulled back his hand. I recognized the owner. I had met him years ago when I was in college. My friends and I had taken a trip to this area during summer vacation and, due to our tight budget and lack of navigational skills, we had ended up lost and wandering in the heat. We stumbled upon Mary, the owner's daughter, who had collapsed on the side of the road. We called an ambulance and stayed with her until it arrived. The next day, the owner came to our small inn to thank us profusely, saying, "You saved my daughter's life. Thank you so much." He had invited us to stay at his inn any time we visited again, free of charge. Since then, my family and I had visited several times, which is why I knew the owner. Now, he was sternly addressing Aoki and Barbara. Although polite, it was clear he was very angry. He had been aware of their plan all along. I had discovered their scheme 2 weeks ago when I noticed their suspicious behavior after they invited me on this trip. I set up a voice recorder to catch their conversations when I was out of the room. How about we leave Kana somewhere? That would be hilarious. Oh, how about here? There's a gym about an hour's drive from the inn. I was shocked by the recording. I immediately contacted the inn and explained the situation to the owner. He was infuriated, especially because his own daughter had once suffered from heat exhaustion. Knowing the situation, he arranged for me to be picked up. After waiting for Aoki and Barbara's car to leave, I was transported in the inn's shuttle. By the way, the driver was Mary, the same girl I had helped years ago. I got my license. Maybe we can go for a drive next time, she said cheerfully. We're driving right now, I replied. Oh, great, Mary responded with enthusiasm. We enjoyed a pleasant conversation and stopped to buy some local specialty ice cream. When we arrived at the inn, I felt reassured knowing that Mary, familiar with the area, had taken a shortcut, getting us there well before Aoki and Barbara. You mentioned suing earlier, ma'am. The owner addressed Barbara with a stern look. Yes, I did. It's outrageous to be accused of such things, Barbara retorted. I'm sorry, but you're not our guests, the owner said firmly. What? Are you kidding us? Both Aoki and Barbara's tempers flared. Your reservations have been cancelled, the owner stated. What do you mean? Who do you think you are? Aoki demanded, visibly agitated. The owner stepped in to restrain him. Kana did nothing wrong. We cancelled your reservations due to your behavior. What are you talking about? Barbara protested. Leaving a woman alone at a remote dam and stealing her wallet. That's a crime. We cannot allow such people to stay at our inn. We've also contacted the police." This revelation only made Aoki and Barbara more furious. "This is absurd. You can't treat us like this. I work at a company. This little inn in the mountains." Just then, Robert arrived, looking concerned. "What's going on here?" he asked, taking in the tense scene. "Why are you arguing with these people?" Barbara and Aoki tried to convince Robert to leave, but he turned to me and the owner for the full story. Upon hearing what had happened, Robert's face reddened with anger. "You two are unbelievable." Robert's outburst was the first time I had seen him lose his temper. "I'm ashamed to be associated with you. Get out of here now." Aoki and Barbara were stunned by Robert's outburst. "Get out? Where will we go? Another inn?" Barbara asked, clearly frustrated. "Leave here and go home," Robert insisted. "Wait a minute. That's not possible, Dad," Aoki protested with a forced smile, but Robert was resolute. "You're disowned. Leave now," Robert commanded firmly. "No, I don't want to repeat myself," Robert said as he pushed Aoki aside. Just then, the police arrived, causing Aoki and Barbara to go pale. The owner and I briefed the officers on the situation, and I played back the recorded conversation for him. Aoki and Barbara began to cry, but Robert cut them off. "Quiet down. You're disrupting the inn. Officer, please remove them," Robert instructed. "But officers, it wasn't meant to be such a big deal. It was just a prank," Aoki and Barbara pleaded. The officer's demeanor shifted. "A prank? Are you serious? Don't you realize that your so-called prank could have endangered someone's life, especially your own wife?" The officers scolded them sternly, although they weren't arrested due to it being a family dispute. Aoki and Barbara remained visibly shaken. "This isn't over. Kaana's feelings will determine your future. Understand?" Robert's final words left Aoki and Barbara subdued as they made their way home. Afterwards, Robert appeared genuinely remorseful. He repeatedly apologized, saying, "I'm truly sorry for not recognizing the difficulties you've faced and for the ordeal you went through today." He also extended his apologies to the inn owner, acknowledging, "I'm deeply sorry for the trouble we caused. We always appreciate your hospitality, and it's regrettable that we caused such a disturbance." The inn owner, who is also a businessman with multiple companies and a client of Robert's workplace, was aware of the situation. Unbeknownst to my husband, who had bragged about working for a big company, his actions had serious repercussions. While I felt a sense of justice in confronting Aoki and Barbara, I couldn't help but feel a shiver at what might have happened had I not discovered their plan. I hoped that the police's reprimand would make them realize the seriousness of their actions. After returning from the inn, I proceeded with divorcing my husband and demanded substantial alimony. I hoped this would make him and Barbara reflect on their actions and deter them from repeating such behavior. In the aftermath, I learned that Robert and Barbara had also divorced. Robert severed ties with my ex-husband and expelled him from their home. Aoki was advised to resign, as his workplace bullying had already been a significant issue. It turned out that his harsh treatment of his juniors and colleagues had prompted the HR department to plan disciplinary action. I feel disappointed in myself for having married such a person. My ex-husband, now unemployed, has been struggling to find a new job, despite his age and previous managerial role. His lack of a strong track record and unclear reasons for leaving his old job have made it difficult for him to secure a position. Barbara, having been kicked out by Robert, has moved in with her relatives. However, she's rumored to be a spendthrift with a penchant for travel. leading her relatives to worry that she might deplete their savings. I believe she should consider getting a part-time job, as she's still in good health. As for me, I moved out of my in-laws' house and now live independently nearby. My relationship with Robert remains positive, and I occasionally seek his advice on work-related issues. Transitioning from a stay-at-home mom to a new career, I began job hunting and was unexpectedly approached by Kuno, the inn owner. "Would you like to work at my company?" he offered. He expressed genuine concern for my situation and seemed eager to find a suitable role for me. I was thrilled to accept his offer. "I'm deeply grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much," I said. "No, we're the ones who owe you. We can't thank you enough," Kuno replied. "I feel like I've already repaid my debt from that time and am just returning the favor." The company Kuno introduced me to is highly reputable, offering excellent labor conditions, and it's even larger in capital than the company my ex-husband used to boast about. The work environment is welcoming and supportive. I'm finding my new days more fulfilling and enjoyable than those spent grappling with my former married life. I was humiliated by my mother-in-law during my father-in-law's 60th birthday celebration. In front of all our relatives, she scolded me for the supposedly unattractive meal I had prepared. "She's not only unattractive, but also inept. I'm truly ashamed. What a disaster," she declared. Where was my dependable husband, who always cared for me? Was he tending to our daughter? He was nowhere to be found. As soon as I arrived at my in-laws' house, feeling fit as a fiddle, my mother-in-law suddenly complained of chronic back pain and became unable to move. When the party preparations began, she delegated all the work to me. Later, she continued to belittle me in front of our gathered relatives, turning the once lively and cheerful mood into something resembling a wake. Then my father-in-law stood up and broke the silence. "Is that all you have to say?" No one could have foreseen the series of unimaginable events that this single phrase would trigger. "I'm Sarah, and I'm 35 years old. 6 years ago, I married my husband Michael, who was 3 years younger than me. We also have a 5-year-old daughter. My mother-in-law has seemed displeased with me since I was older than her son. Every time I visited her house during New Year's, Memorial Day, or national holidays, she'd make sarcastic remarks at me in my husband's absence. I wish I had a younger, vibrant, and cuter daughter-in-law, not a woman full of age spots like you. Do I really look that old?" "Yes, very. Don't you see your own face in the mirror every day? It hurts to be criticized about your appearance, especially as a woman. But I thought it was better not to make a big deal of it, since we only met a few times a year." However, this seemed to irritate her even more, and she began to use harsher words. "You're quite thick-skinned for an old woman. You don't get upset no matter what I say. I find it annoying that you don't show a shred of modesty." Yeah. What could I say to my mother-in-law, who only said things that left me at a loss for words? In front of my husband, she hid her true dark nature and spoke kind words to me. My husband seemed to have no idea that I was being mistreated by her. If I were to accidentally vent my frustrations, I would likely be the one blamed, so I've always held back. Visiting the house with my mother-in-law present felt truly burdensome. However, it was a significant celebration for my kind father-in-law's 60th birthday. Many relatives were gathering, and we were having a grand event, so I decided to attend. My father-in-law is a quiet man who doesn't talk much, but he enveloped me in his subtle kindness. When I was feeling down because of my mother-in-law's nasty words, he would gently approach me and speak to me. "Sarah, if you're having a hard time, Feel free to tell me, if it's all right. I'd like to be there for you. I wondered if my father-in-law realized that I was being harassed by my mother-in-law. Perhaps to protect me from further harassment, he refrained from openly supporting me but offered his kindness subtly. To celebrate such a warm-hearted father-in-law, our family left early in the morning and drove 3 hours to our in-laws' house. I was feeling under the weather with a low-grade fever and lingering fatigue, so my husband Michael took it upon himself to do all the driving. Upon reaching my in-laws' place, my mother-in-law stepped lightly out of the front door with a gleeful expression. "Well, well, look who's here. It's been a while. Michael, you should show your face more often. Oh dear, you look tired." "Well, I've been driving nonstop, so it can't be helped." "I see, you've worked hard. I'll get the bed ready right away. Why don't you go rest in the back room?" "I think I'll take you up on that. Sarah, you should get some rest too. You've been taking care of the kid in the car. You must be tired. Besides, you don't seem well." "Oh dear, Michael, you didn't know. I called Sarah yesterday, and we planned to go shopping together for the 60th birthday celebration. You go and rest, Sarah. Once you've put the luggage at the entrance, we'll head out." Of course, no such communication had come, and I don't remember making any such shopping promise. Having looked after our energetic 5-year-old daughter, I'm exhausted, and since I'm not feeling well, I'd like to rest too. "Since Sarah's not feeling well, let her rest. The shopping can be done by you. But it's your father's big celebration. I want to choose the best ingredients with Sarah. Sarah, you'll keep your promise with me, right?" She certainly knew how to make a good excuse without giving me a chance to refuse. After setting down the luggage, she forcefully pulled me by the arm and shoved me back into the car we had just gotten out of. Then, glaring at me fiercely, she snapped, "I don't think you need time to rest." However, right after that, she switched her expression to a big smile and loudly said, "Thank you for driving the car. I'm so happy." Knowing my mother-in-law, if I opposed her now, it would surely make the whole day a disaster. I reluctantly got into the driver's seat. "I'm fine, Michael. You just rest. I'll go shopping with mother-in-law." As I tried to hand over our daughter to Michael, mother-in-law took her from my arms and swiftly seated her in the child's seat, quickly closing the door. Looking after the child is a mother's duty. "Well, Michael, we're off." Once she got into the passenger seat, her sweet tone from before completely changed as she started berating me. "So, you can't even look after your child properly. Stop using Michael for your convenience. You're just an incompetent daughter-in-law who's only aged." What was terrifying was that she maintained the sweet facade since Michael was still nearby. Oblivious, he waved us goodbye. I drove my husband's unfamiliar car toward a large supermarket. Of course, there was no way my mother-in-law would stay quiet during the drive, and she started lecturing me right away. "I'll make you regret lazing around while making my son drive." "Mother-in-law, please don't say such scary things. I've been feeling feverish and fatigued since this morning." "Your poor health is due to your bad management. Also, your crow's feet have increased, and the spots on your cheeks have darkened. I can't even bear to look, and your skin has lost its elasticity." I had lost all my energy to respond to her harsh words and barely managed to arrive at the supermarket, nodding along the way. "This is really exhausting. I wonder how all the other daughters-in-law in the world manage to endure such treatment from their mothers-in-law." My high-spirited mother-in-law, without even a word of thanks, jumped out of the car and swiftly handed me to shopping carts. "You're so slow. Get a move on." When I tried to avoid the crowds, She swiftly moved forward, filling the shopping basket with luxury foods like USDA prime beef, crab, salmon roe, and melons. Then, she started to add things clearly not needed for the day. "Mother-in-law, do we need these urgently?" I asked. "We're bulk buying, so we don't have to come to the supermarket again and again. You should know that without being told," she replied. Feeling helpless, I let her do as she pleased. By the time we finished shopping, the baskets were piled high. "We're going to check out. Hurry up. Stop dilly-dallying." Despite her rush, when it came time to pay at the counter, my mother-in-law showed no intention of taking out her wallet. "Mother-in-law, the payment," I began, but with her hands folded behind her, she didn't move an inch. When I asked for the money again, she glared at me and got angry. "You should pay for everything." "Excuse me," I stammered. "As a wife, it's your duty to entertain your husband's father. Don't be stingy and just pay." I ended up having to pay a total of $300 at the cash register to avoid making a scene. Not having any cash on me, I paid with my credit card. As a part-time worker trying to raise a child, this was a significant blow to my finances. To make matters worse, I had brought $300 as a birthday gift for my father-in-law's 60th birthday, but I couldn't use that. The expense meant I would have to cut back even more on our living costs in the future, and the burden that had already been heavy just became even heavier. I was unsure how to bring this up with Michael, reporting it could lead to a confrontation with my mother-in-law. During the drive home, she continued to hurl a barrage of insults at me, each one more creative than the last. When we arrived home, Michael was still asleep, likely exhausted from the trip. Seeing this, my mother-in-law seized the opportunity to press her advantage. "After you put away the groceries, go weed the garden immediately. Can I please rest for a bit?" "You have no right to defy your mother-in-law. This is the consequence of making Michael drive alone." "So, this is what you want," I murmured, trying to hide my frustration. "If you have time to complain, you have time to work. Hurry up. After eating, clean the bathroom and the toilet." Despite the unfairness, I had no choice but to endure her demands for the day. I weeded the garden and scrubbed the grimy, yellow-stained bathroom and toilet. I kept thinking that once the 60th birthday celebration was over, I wouldn't have to deal with my mother-in-law for a while. Just as I finished cleaning, Michael woke up and looked surprised to see me. "Sarah, are you okay? If you're not feeling well, don't overwork yourself. Take a break." "Thank you, I'll take you up on that." "Ouch, that hurts." As I was about to lie down, my mother-in-law suddenly let out a loud cry, clutching her back. Despite her earlier vitality, she now complained about sudden back pain. She had always been so composed in front of Michael, but now she spoke with a weak, sorrowful tone. "This is troublesome. My back hurts so much. I can't do anything. My chronic back pain has flared up again. I won't be able to cook before the relatives arrive. Sarah, you're my only hope. What should I do?" Her distress seemed a bit staged, but if her chronic back pain was real, then she truly couldn't stand in the kitchen. Reluctantly, I mustered the strength to keep going, asked Michael to look after our daughter, and began preparing the meal. "Sarah, are you sure you're okay?" "I'm fine. I always cook, remember." I put on a brave face for my husband, but I was already exhausted. It was an important day for my father-in-law, and I felt I couldn't afford to take a break. My head was spinning, and the smell of food was making me nauseous, but I had to keep going for his sake. Once I managed to finish cooking, my father-in-law came into the kitchen to check on me. "You've worked hard. Thank you for preparing all this food." Not at all. It's for you. Please enjoy it later. As the relatives began arriving, the atmosphere became lively, with well wishes for my father-in-law. Just as we finished the toast and were about to start eating, my mother-in-law made a shocking announcement. I'm sorry, everyone, but due to my chronic back pain flaring up on this important birthday celebration, my daughter-in-law had to cook everything. I apologize for the unappetizing food made by my unattractive daughter-in-law. Both my father-in-law and husband were taken aback by my mother-in-law's sudden outburst. My daughter-in-law is not only unattractive but also clumsy, a total failure. It's truly pitiful. Ouch! My mother-in-law exaggeratedly rubbed her back, continuing to belittle me. She's so clumsy that without my support, she can't do anything. I wonder if she can even take care of her own child. I'm worried about whether Michael can manage with such a woman as his wife. What was meant to be a festive occasion quickly turned somber, as if it were a wake rather than a celebration. My usually supportive husband, who was supposed to be looking after our daughter, was nowhere to be found. At that moment, my father-in-law, who had been sitting quietly, suddenly stood up. Is that all you wanted to say? Ha! Seems like it. Maybe we should kick out the useless one then. With that, my husband entered the room holding our daughter and a suitcase. His expression was unusually stern. Dad, as you said, I've packed her stuff. My mother-in-law's face lit up with a smug smile. Sarah, looks like you're getting kicked out. To her surprise, my husband handed the suitcase to her. What? My father-in-law's booming voice added the final blow. Take that and get out of this house right away. Although initially stunned, my mother-in-law quickly understood the situation. Why should I be the one kicked out? It's Sarah who's useless. The bathroom is always covered in mold, the toilet left dirty, and you call Sarah useless while you barely lift a finger and treat her so harshly. I've had enough. It's the mother-in-law's duty to discipline the daughter-in-law. I was only pointing out her shortcomings. Discipline? What era do you think we're living in? Realizing that my father-in-law's anger would not turn in her favor, my mother-in-law resorted to her usual theatrics, beginning to cry to my husband. Michael, don't misunderstand. We might need to care for your father someday, right? I was only trying to teach Sarah how to be a good wife, even if it was tough. Care for him? That's a joke. I'm not falling for your manipulations anymore. You've just been bullying Sarah. Even today, despite feeling unwell, she came here to celebrate Dad's 60th birthday. Sarah volunteered to come, didn't she? Don't lie. You also made her pay for the groceries, didn't you? I found a receipt in her bag when she was getting candies for our daughter. It shows she paid with her credit card. I just asked her to pay because I didn't have cash on hand. I intended to pay her back, honestly. Really? If I hadn't noticed, you would have kept quiet about it. I've put up with the usual mother-in-law and daughter-in-law issues, but this is going too far. I'm fed up with living with someone so spiteful. Seeing that both my husband and father-in-law were turning against her, my mother-in-law resorted to her usual theatrics, tears streaming down her face. No, I haven't said anything, but it's clear that you've been bullying me, isn't it? For the sake of my father-in-law and my husband, who had gone to great lengths for me, I found the courage to speak the truth. I would no longer let my mother-in-law have her way. That's right. We heard about it from Mia. We also know about the nasty comments you made about Sarah at the supermarket and in the car. After that, you made Sarah do all the weeding and cleaning. Yeah, Grandma was mean to Mommy. She made her clean a lot of places. You can't trust what a child says. Mia doesn't lie. Let's check the dashcam footage. That should clear things up. Michael, could you do that? Good idea, Sarah. I'll do it right away. What's that? Ignoring his mother's question, Michael went outside to the car, started the engine, and began playing the dashcam footage. The device, which records both the interior and exterior of the car, clearly captured everything. It's showing. She was saying those things. I'm shocked. Everyone, come and see this. The relatives who had gathered to witness the scene all watched the footage and reacted with dismay. This is terrible. Wow, this is the worst. As the tension mounted, my mother-in-law, who had been insisting she was innocent, suddenly panicked and dashed barefoot toward the car. Her swift movement surprised everyone, given her supposed back pain. So the back pain was just an act. I'm all better now. She attempted to awkwardly seat herself in the driver's seat to turn off the dash cam, but my father-in-law held her firmly, preventing her from moving. Stop this right now. Don't look. With all her misdeeds exposed, my mother-in-law, stunned and speechless, sank down helplessly. That's when my father-in-law calmly handed her a single piece of paper. I've filled out my section. You just need to complete yours and submit it. What? Is this a divorce form? I prepared it just in case. I never thought I'd actually need it. Don't ever come to my doorstep again. Wait, I promise I'll change. Please, Sarah, forgive me. Seeing my mother-in-law's tearful plea was disheartening, but it felt like just another act. I stood my ground and pushed her away. You've exposed your mistreatment of your daughter-in-law. I can't forgive you. It's best if you leave before the neighbors gather. Oh no, this is awful. The commotion drew the attention of the neighbors, who watched from a distance. Not wanting to attract more attention, she quickly took the divorce form and her suitcase, her supposed back pain miraculously gone. She hurried out of the garden, with the problem resolved. I returned home, feeling a pang of guilt. I'm sorry for all this on your 60th birthday, Dad. He reassured me with a kind smile. Sarah, you did nothing wrong. I'm sorry for all the trouble we've caused. Let's start fresh. The relatives, with warm expressions, also showed their support. Later, they praised the dishes I had prepared, and we celebrated my father-in-law's birthday in a grand manner. The exhaustion I felt seemed to lift, replaced by a sense of relief. My mother-in-law, though initially hesitant, agreed to the divorce. It was later revealed that she had been misappropriating funds from my father-in-law's account and was ordered to repay $10,000. Struggling to find work due to her lack of experience, she now works as a night janitor in an office building and lives in a rundown apartment. Meanwhile, I discovered I was pregnant with my second child. The discomfort I'd been feeling was due to the pregnancy. 5 months later, my husband Michael has been incredibly supportive. The ultrasound revealed we're expecting a boy, and both Michael and my father-in-law are eagerly anticipating his arrival. My father-in-law even sent over blue baby clothes. My daughter is thrilled at the prospect of having a younger brother and practices taking care of her dolls every day. Watching her brings me immense joy.
Starting today, this is our place. Strangers can scram. Whoa, hold on a minute. What's going on with both of you? After my mother's funeral had just ended, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law began to insult me non-stop. My husband intervened, but the two of them showed no signs of slowing down. You're being tricked. Maybe you've been brainwashed or something. Ha, that's right. It's all because your mom spoiled you. She's the one who raised you to be this way. Your mom's to blame. When my sister-in-law and mother-in-law badmouthed my mother, my anger exploded. I can tolerate them speaking ill of me, but I absolutely will not tolerate them speaking ill of my deceased mother. My name is Kathy, 35 years old. I met my husband, David, who is a year older than me, at work, and we got married 5 years ago. I used to live with my mother and husband. Reflecting back, a lot has happened in these past 5 years. 5 years ago, I was working at the real estate company my father owned. I've always been interested in the flow of people and money, so I studied economics in college and applied that knowledge to my work. However, there were those who saw my success as a result of my own ability and those who thought it was due to my parents' influence. For example, when I heard people talking about me, they often referred to me as the boss's daughter rather than by my name. Moreover, my husband was the top salesperson in the same company. It seems that he was popular with many women, and I received nasty glances from various people. Of course, I don't think that all of my work success is due to my own efforts. I believe it's all thanks to the cooperation of those around me, but I couldn't help but feel frustrated at being labeled as the boss's daughter. While I was living these frustrating days, my father passed away, my brother took over as president, and the harsh stares towards me became even more severe. You must have screwed up. That's why your brother's now the president. Now we'll have to call you the president's sister, right? Normally, I might just feel frustrated, but at that time, I had just lost my real father. Those words were hard to take for me, who was mentally worn out. After my father's funeral, a single thought crossed my mind: what do I really want to do? Even if I tried to keep going in this situation, something inspirational was missing. As I thought about it, I found myself saying, I want to be an investor. In front of my husband, David, rather than rejecting my outrageous proposal, he supported me. When I told my mom that I wanted to quit my job and become an investor, she laughed and said, "You didn't have to worry about your father. You should have done what you loved from the start." Despite my father's recent death, this might seem outrageous. Before talking to my mother, I was always thinking about the negatives, but looking at my mother's smile, I began to feel that the opinions of others didn't matter. While dealing with the funeral, settling the estate, moving, and other busy tasks, I started as an investor. Of course, not everything went smoothly from the beginning, but my calm and cheerful husband and mother encouraged me every step of the way. Thanks to both of them, the investments I started with my savings and my father's inheritance went well. After a few years, my income had significantly increased compared to when I was working at the company. On the one hand, I was living a fulfilling life, but on the other hand, there were two people who were a big concern: my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. My sister-in-law is 3 years older than my husband, 4 years older than me, and she's still unmarried. From the time that David and I decided to get married, I got the feeling she wasn't particularly pleased. Even my mother-in-law seemed to think that I was just a rich little daddy's girl, despite the fact that I was working at the same level as any other employee. Even though my father was the CEO, every time I went to my in-laws, she'd make snide comments when my husband or father-in-law weren't around. Being a pampered princess, I bet you can't do housework worth a dime. It's a woman's job to do the chores. Please don't make David do it. Mother-in-law, my mother taught me well, and I can handle things on my own. But since I also work, David and I help each other out. It was his idea. Actually, despite my explanation, my mother-in-law refused to accept it. My sister-in-law often echoed her sentiments, remarking, "It's absurd that a woman who makes her husband do housework can get married." My relationship with them worsened after my father-in-law passed away. It must be nice, huh? Living off David's money and slacking off at home. I have to put up with so much because my husband's gone. Why is it that you get to live so freely, Kathy? Mother-in-law, as I've mentioned before, I make a living as an investor. I'm not slacking off at all. In fact, I have less free time than when I had a regular job. If you're really making a living, at least give me an allowance. You can't even have kids. You're really a good-for-nothing wife. After my father-in-law's death, my mother-in-law became increasingly fixated on money. She resented that I, whom she viewed as a shut-in, wasn't financially stressed despite working from home as an investor. But I had no intention of giving her money. Every visit to my in-laws revealed more luxury items, making it clear where any money I gave would go. I loved David, who trusted people and didn't warrant mistrust himself, so I chose not to tell him about my in-laws' behavior. However, I did confide in my own mother once. Why can't I have children? The looming uncertainty as I approached 35 and my mother-in-law's constant badgering about when we'd have a baby weighed on me. Her harsh words haunted me, leading to my outburst. But my mother, puzzled, simply said, "Well, I had you when I was 35, so it's okay. God will give us the right timing, I'm sure. Her words lightened my heart. Since then, even when my mother-in-law mentioned children, I reassured myself, children are a gift. After 5 tumultuous years, things were finally calming down. Then, suddenly, my mother passed away from a subarachnoid hemorrhage. Losing my guiding light plunged me into deep grief. David, who had lived with me for several years, also took it hard but remained kind and supportive. The funeral came before we could fully process her absence. Many attended to honor my mother, who had been an executive at the company my brother now led after my father passed away. Among the attendees were my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who seemed to have timed their visit when David was not present. There's no need for condolences, right? They said, bypassing any condolences as they signed the register. I was simply dumbfounded by the insensitivity of my in-laws. Yet, when David returned, they instantly changed their demeanor. You may be going through a tough time, but Kathy's shock is probably greater. You should support her, they said, pretending to consider my feelings. Later, when I was feeling utterly exhausted from the past few days, the doorbell rang. My considerate husband answered to find my mother-in-law and sister-in-law at the door. David, believing they had come to cheer me up, invited them in without hesitation. As they entered the living room, they glanced at me with smug expressions before uttering words beyond my expectations. From today, this is our home. Outsiders should leave. Mom, David exclaimed in surprise, but she continued. Until now, we've put up with you because your mom was here. But now only unemployed Kathy is left. If you stay with such a woman, you'll be ruined. We'll live with you, so you should divorce Kathy. What are you saying, Mom, at a time like this? And what do you mean by unemployed? I've told you many times that Kathy is an investor. When you say investor, it sounds like a proper job, but isn't she just playing around with stocks? How can such a woman be a wife? You can find a much better one. Hold on, what do you mean by bad-mouthing Kathy? What do you two intend to say? Kathy earns her own money, don't call it playing around. You've been brainwashed. You've spent too much time with Kathy's mother. That's right, Kathy's like this because her mom spoiled her. I understand why David wants to defend Kathy. After all, it's her mom's fault for raising her like this. When my sister-in-law and mother-in-law insulted my mom, my anger, which had been dormant, exploded. I could tolerate them bad-mouthing me, but I would never tolerate them bad-mouthing my mother. Stop speaking ill of my deceased mother, I shouted, glaring at them with all my fury. Yet, they only grinned, showing no signs of fear. Okay, I get it. You don't like us talking about your mom, huh? Now that the mom who always sided with you and let you be a shut-in is gone, it must be hard for you to hear the truth. I looked down at my trembling, clenched fist, taking a deep breath to suppress my anger. Just as I was about to retort, David spoke up first. Enough is enough. Mom, don't speak ill of Kathy or my mother-in-law. Kathy is not a shut-in, she's a bona fide investor. My mother-in-law and I have been cheering for Kathy's efforts all along. If Kathy was just playing around, neither my mother-in-law nor I would have supported it. Even my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, along with myself, were surprised by David's usually calm voice. My mother-in-law, unable to grasp the situation, hastily made excuses. Don't be so angry. Still, Kathy's lifestyle has been possible because of your earnings, right? Didn't you let her live a privileged life in this high-rise condo? Poor David, if you live with us, we'll do all the housework. Just give us a small allowance. That's all we need. The rest is. Don't you know, Mom? David interrupted, his voice flustered. This apartment is Kathy's. What? My mother-in-law's eyes widened in disbelief. This apartment is Kathy's, didn't you buy it? When did I ever say that? This apartment is a legacy from my father-in-law, and Kathy inherited it. The title is in Kathy's name. Plus, we split the living expenses evenly. I don't know what you think, but Kathy earns more than I do. What? Both my mother-in-law and sister-in-law were shocked by David's confession. They couldn't imagine I earned more than David. My mother-in-law lost her momentum, appearing deflated. My sister-in-law, however, spoke up. That can't be. Investors make that much, more than someone working for a company just by buying and selling stocks. I don't know about other investors, maybe Kathy has a knack for it, but facts are facts. How dare you belittle my wife? This is our home, both of you, get out now. At David's words, my sister-in-law began to panic. Wait a minute, we sold our house thinking we could live here from today. What? My husband and I both exclaimed in surprise. You sold your house? Why all of a sudden? You could have at least consulted with us. Well, we thought we could live here. Besides, we didn't have money. I quit my job thinking you would support me. So, if you don't let us stay, we'll be in trouble. Hey, Mom, say something. My sister-in-law looked at David with pleading eyes and shook her mother, who was still in a daze. The shock seemed too great for her to respond. Desperate, my sister-in-law turned to me. Kathy, I'm sorry, I apologize. Please persuade David for me. We can't survive like this. You sold your house, which means you have a considerable amount of money, right? I asked coldly. At that, my sister-in-law snapped. Don't get smart. Don't talk back just because your investments went well. Don't get carried away. Enough is enough. David's raised voice echoed louder than her outburst. He directed a sharp gaze at his sister, who fell silent. Forget about the house. I won't even ask for my share. Just get out of here right now. With that, my husband practically forced his mother and sister out and locked the door. For a while, we heard the doorbell and pounding on the door, but eventually, it became quiet. According to relatives, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law rented a cheap apartment and started living together. Their house, situated in a remote area, couldn't fetch a high price, and the land was cheap too. My sister-in-law couldn't find a decent job, and their money quickly ran out. Despite this, they tried relying on us several times, but we turned them away. They sold all their branded goods and are now barely making ends meet with part-time jobs. Meanwhile, I've been able to live freely as an investor without anyone making nasty comments. Next year, we're planning to add one more member to our family, just as my mother had said. I was blessed at just the right time and felt grateful to her once again. My name is Molly. I work as a public servant in a small town. 8 years ago, I married Michael, who also works as a public servant. Given our jobs require frequent relocations, we live apart and don't have children. Every evening at 9 p.m., I get a WhatsApp message from Michael. Damn, I have a meeting tonight too. You're always dealing with this alone. When can you come home next? I don't know, not sure. And that's the end of it. This has been the extent of our conversations. Despite being married for 8 years, we've never lived together. Some might think our marriage is a matter of convenience, but this arrangement isn't unusual in our field. Both of us are federal civil servants, specifically soldiers, and we're transferred to different military bases every 2 to 3 years. Our residence changes with each new assignment. 2 years ago, during one of our WhatsApp chats, should I buy an apartment in Jackson, Mississippi, where my parents live? Oh, that sounds great. I hope I get stationed in Jackson too. Definitely, we are a couple, after all. Why do you doubt it? Are we really a couple? Why are you asking such things? Still at work. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Our conversations are always brief. 2 years ago, I bought an apartment in Jackson, planning to live there when I retire. If Michael gets stationed there, we'll finally be able to live together. On that day, I received an unexpected phone call from Michael instead of the usual WhatsApp message. That's unusual, a call instead of a message. Hey, my parents are planning a trip from Eugene, Oregon, to Kentucky. When they pass through Mississippi, would it be okay if they stayed at your apartment? It would mean a lot. Sure, Michael, it's been a while since I last saw your parents. Thanks for letting me know. Bye. Despite the rare call, Michael's tone was as distant as ever. When was the last time I saw my in-laws? Has it really been since our wedding? I guess so. I'm based in Mississippi, while Michael moves around the country, and his parents live in Eugene, Oregon. We rarely have the chance to meet. With the chance to host my in-laws, I wanted them to enjoy Jackson, so I eagerly offered to show them around the city. Molly, it's been so long. How have you been? I'm doing well, thank you. Michael's been on his own for a while now. Sorry we haven't had the chance to catch up. Oh, don't worry, we're pretty much like heir to each other. Yes, that's exactly how it's been. Michael and I Like air, for better or worse. Since you're here, let's tour the Windsor ruins today, I suggested, driving them to the historic site. These ruins are impressive. They rival the Shelton McMurphy Johnson House in Eugene, my father-in-law remarked, admiring the Windsor ruins. He noted the recent damage from an earthquake 6 years ago and the subsequent demolition of irreparable parts. That's a shame, I agreed. Next, let's visit the petrified forest, I proposed. I spent the whole day showing my in-laws around Mississippi's attractions. My mother-in-law was charmed by the city and even started talking about possibly living here. I've fallen in love with Mississippi, thank you, Molly. Would it be okay if I stayed here for a while? Of course, I'm usually out during the day, so I'll give you a spare key. I handed over a spare key, thinking they'd stay for 4 or 5 days at most, but a week had passed, and my in-laws showed no signs of leaving. I decided it was time to make a proposal to my in-laws. If you like the place so much, I can lease it to you for $600 a month. In the meantime, I can stay with my folks in the city. My father-in-law suddenly erupted in anger. What are you thinking? Asking family to pay rent? You should let us stay here for free. Calm down, dear, my mother-in-law intervened, trying to defuse the situation. Despite her efforts to calm things down, I felt unsettled. Alright, how about this? You just cover the utility costs, electricity, water, and gas. A few days later, during the second week of their stay, my cell phone rang while I was at work. Hello. Hi, this is Brian, the property manager from Front Hills. We received a call from the tenants downstairs about a water leak from your apartment that's causing a stain on their ceiling. Can you come over right away? We can't enter without your permission. Since I couldn't leave work immediately, I had to wait until my lunch break to head back to the apartment. Upon arriving with the property manager. Oh, Molly, what's going on? Why are you here? Ma'am, the downstairs tenants reported a water leak from our place. A leak? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Ignoring her confusion, I made my way to the washing machine. The hose had come loose, and the washer was running and draining repeatedly. This must be the issue. We went downstairs with the manager to inspect the damage. Sure enough, the ceiling below was stained, right where the washing machine was located. I let out an involuntary sigh as my mother-in-law peeked into the room and then retreated with a guilty expression. I ended up apologizing to the downstairs neighbors with a box of cookies and received a repair bill from property management. When I informed my mother-in-law, she reacted angrily. So you're telling us to pack up and leave? We're not going anywhere that easily. Are we supposed to just leave? The issues didn't stop with the water leak. Property management called again with another complaint from the residents. This is Brian, the property manager from Front Hills. What's the problem now? I braced myself for more bad news. This time, the complaint was about my father-in-law singing loudly on the balcony every night, creating a noise disturbance. Seriously? I was furious but kept my composure. I had to address this problem. When I arrived at the apartment, my in-laws were gone. I found a note on the table. Thank you for your hospitality. We're heading back to Seattle. What? That's it? I shouted in frustration. They had left without paying for any of the utilities they used and had left a significant amount of garbage behind. At least take out your trash. Ugh. With my in-laws gone, I moved back into the apartment from my parents' house. Then, one day, I received an unexpected call from my husband. My parents love your apartment, so I'm giving it to them as a gift. If you oppose this, we're getting a divorce. In the background, I could hear my mother-in-law's laughter. After my in-laws left my apartment, they moved into their son's government quarters, my husband's place. Instead of confronting me directly, they manipulated him into pressuring me to give up the apartment. How did it come to this? Now, I'm faced with a stark choice: surrender the apartment I finally managed to secure or get a divorce. It's a clear-cut decision. I pondered deeply, feeling frustrated. Alright, I've made up my mind. 2 days later, instead of a WhatsApp message, my husband called me. You'll pay for this. The same day he forced me to choose between relinquishing the apartment or getting a divorce. I sent him the divorce papers via express mail. His reaction was one of surprise and anger. Less than a week later, I was summoned by my boss at work. Just a moment, Molly. To my disbelief, I received a transfer order to Dallas. It turned out my ex-husband, who handles personnel, had used his influence to make my life difficult since I refused to give up my apartment. Damn it, I won't forget this. But what about the apartment? Should I relent and rent it to my ex's parents? This might be the perfect time. I visited the legal affairs department at work. You have no ties to your ex-husband anymore, so you're not obligated to his parents either. Renting out your apartment as a landlord seems like the best option. That made sense to me. I promptly contacted my in-laws, who had returned to Portland, and told them I was ready to rent out my apartment when I'm transferred. They agreed without hesitation. It wasn't harassment. They genuinely liked the apartment. I set the rent at $700 per month, including utilities and repair costs from their previous stay, and they accepted without any complaints. While in Dallas, I also prepared for the internal selection examination for the command staff course, a rigorous program for unit commanders. Passing this exam and completing over a year of training would lead to assignments as unit commanders across the country. My motivation wasn't just about climbing the ranks or leading others. It was about surpassing my ex-husband and proving myself. And believe it or not, I successfully passed the examination and was admitted to the command staff course on my first attempt. Watch this, Michael, the real revenge starts now. Students of the command staff course attend the military officer school in New York, where my ex-husband is stationed. Although he must have known about my success, I deliberately didn't contact him, and he didn't reach out to me. After 16 months, I was assigned as a unit commander responsible for soldier education and training in Nebraska. Coincidentally, my ex-husband was also assigned to Nebraska, where he worked at the Regional Cooperation Headquarters, acting as a liaison between the military and the local community. Thanks to my success in the internal selection exam, my rank is now higher than my ex-husband's. That day, we were participating in a training session for senior officers who had recently arrived in Nebraska. Hey, why are you wearing a higher rank insignia than me? As soon as my ex-husband spotted me, he stormed over and yelled at me, shocking everyone around us, including the higher-ups. I shrugged it off, thinking, I'm no longer associated with someone like you. It was a beautiful, sunny Sunday, the day of the annual base open house, a rare chance for civilians to interact with servicemen. From children to adults, everyone enjoyed the displays of tanks and the thrilling combat simulations. Soldiers rappelled from a helicopter, landing with precision and readying their weapons, while visitors took photos with soldiers in camouflage and enjoyed various souvenirs. As a training coordinator, I was stationed at a booth where civilians could try out the forward-leaning rest position with active servicemen. That's when my ex-husband and his parents' association group showed up. The chance for revenge was too perfect to miss. Perfect opportunity for revenge. Let's see, Mr. Over there, Mom and Dad, care to join us? I called them over and set my ex-husband and his parents up at our booth. I reluctantly fitted my ex-husband with an iron helmet and lined him up with the other servicemen and civilians. Alright, here's how it works. In the military, we assign numbers and call them out rather than using names. I'll start the numbering. When I say, start numbering, the person on the right will say, 1. Then the next person will say 2, 3, 4, and so on. I placed my ex-husband at the far right in the number 1 position, with others filling the spots as well. Numbering, start. 1, number 1. You're slow. When I say, start numbering, you need to respond immediately. Yes. Watching my ex-husband stand straight and at attention, struggling to keep up, almost made me burst out laughing. This is quite amusing. Now we're going to practice the forward-leaning rest position. The instructor, a serviceman, demonstrated the forward-leaning rest position and gave a brief lecture. After the participants practiced and got the hang of it, I took over. Next, we'll conduct combat training. Soldiers, watch where your muzzles are pointing. Civilians, please pretend you have weapons. I gave instructions to the 9 participants. Target the tree ahead and move forward. We're still some distance from the enemy. Everyone, stay low and use the target tree as cover while advancing. Keep your weapons pointed in the direction of the enemy and perform a bounding overwatch. Number 1. Start the bounding overwatch and move forward. I decided to test my ex-husband's limits with my commands. What's taking you so long? Number 1. Move forward. Number 1. Move. Reluctantly, my ex-husband advanced. Number 1. You're standing too tall. You're exposing yourself. Do you want to get shot? Under the blazing sun, my ex-husband, a soldier, crawled along the ground with his rifle. He finally reached the designated spot and barely managed to say, Number 1. Your voice is too quiet. Try again. Laughter erupted from the crowd. Unaware of our personal connection, the spectators found it entertaining to watch a female commander treating a male soldier as if he were a mere pawn. My ex-husband's parents, however, watched with grim expressions. In the rigid hierarchy of the military, my ex-husband, who had initially outranked me, had always tried to assert his dominance over me both at work and at home. The military often emphasizes rank, even among spouses, and I suspect my in-laws began to look down on me, basking in the prestige their son's rank brought, rather than his personal qualities. Driven by frustration, I decided to take the selection exam and passed it on my first attempt, leading to a dramatic turnaround. I felt a sense of satisfaction as I proved myself superior to my ex-husband and his parents, particularly in front of those who saw their son as a big deal. My rebuke seemed to make a significant impression. A few days later, I received a call from my ex-in-laws expressing their desire to move out of their apartment. Meanwhile, I was finally able to move back to my own place and commute from there instead of my parents' home. Ironically, I still encounter my ex-husband from time to time, and seeing his sour expression has become a private delight of mine.